Hi there, Z here, and has anybody here been let down by a sequel sometime in their life? Now, it doesn't have to be recently, but at some point in your life, have you ever been let down by a sequel? I mean, this could be movies, or it could be video games, or novels, books, pornographic materials. It really is all up to you guys. I know personally that there have been a string of bad sequels that have recently come out, but I'm not going to pick sides, okay? I'm not going to say what they are because that would be very polarizing. These are very sensitive subjects, and I want you all to have a safe space here. Destiny, Battlefield, the new Star Wars series. Oh, dear God, I'm so sorry about that, guys. I've been recently coming down with a really bad case of the mediocrity. Very, very recent here, so, you know. So, when we do finally find a sequel that not only is better than the previous, but at least comparable to the previous one, so you know that they didn't fuck things up, it just feels good. You know what I mean? I mean, every single time you wake up in the mornings and you think, there's no way that this can get any worse. And then you wake up the next morning, and then the next morning, and then the next morning, and life just seems like a big highway full of dead cars, which are the aspirations of your life. And then you see a sequel that comes out to a property that you really, really loved. And life has purpose again, and you think that it all's worth it. Being an adult is just easy now, and it feels so good, and it feels right, and it just feels pure. You know what I mean, guys? And then a bad sequel comes out directly after that, and you're right back down that fucking highway. Anywho, Hands of Fate 2. Is it good or not? Come join me.
Your memories are fading even now, gone to form the soul of the game we play. These pieces are new, as are the stakes. Life, death, and vengeance.
Now, I did do a review of the first Hands of Fate when I was a measly 20 subscriber YouTuber, but now that I am in the triple digits, ladies and gentlemen, things are different. I mean, they're only different in the way that I now know not to stretch out my video, making myself look fatter than what I actually am. Extra thick! But back to this game. The first one I just adored. Loved every single part of it, from the card-playing aspect to the Arkham Asylum rip-off combat style. But for those of you who don't want to go through the terror of watching my older videos, I understand, let me just wrap up what you do in Hand of Fate first. You know that weird kid in class? Yeah, that one weird kid that tries to explain how Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering is for Rick and Morty levels of intellectuals. I'm Pickle Rick! And sniffs dry erase markers when he thinks nobody is looking. Well, imagine that kid coming to class with a blunt training sword and walking up to random students and just beating the ever-living shit out of them. Then, as he's tipping his fedora and running out Naruto style, he's muttering to himself about how he just leveled up to go to the next dungeon. Well, that's this game, pretty much. The basic of this outline is a dungeon crawler, Dungeons and Dragons type of approach where you create a deck, including event cards, equipment cards, and enemy cards. And with that deck, the Dungeon Master, who's this old bitch right here with the voice of Morgan Freeman if he smoked 4 packs of cigarettes a day.
These cards represent your history and our game.
Build you an adventure with those cards. The cards have many different events on them, which can either be positive or negative, depending on your actions. What actions, you might say? Well, in the previous game, carried over to this game as well, many instances come down to, hey, what do you know? Pick a card, pick a card. Do you see all these nice little cards? Make sure that you get this card. This card is really going to help you. You got a 1 to 3 chance. 1-3 to lose, 3 chances to go. Come on, I'll just shuffle, and pick a card. Fucking really? Yep, that's pretty much it. Now, if you have an eagle eye, you can kind of see where they're shuffled to, you know, which cards to go to and which ones not to go to. But if cataracts, sitting too close to the television, and masturbation have treated your eyesight like mine, you can't keep up with this shit. So if you're like me, oh boy, you're gonna have a fantastic time randomly choosing cards and praying to every single god you may know that you got the right one. And in some instances, when you run into some shady characters who have said something negative about your mother, you can throw down and beat their ass in a 3D action-filled fight. Sometimes I kind of wish that was allowed in the Magic the Gathering tournaments I've been to, because I can't play Magic the Gathering whatsoever, but I could beat some nerd ass. Anywho, that's really the whole point of this game. Build a deck with a bunch of cards that you unlock from every single successful adventure that you go on. The old prick puts a bunch of bad cards in there to level out the good cards that you put in, and you head out on another adventure of your life. So Zach, what's the point of this being a good sequel? It sounds like it does the same stuff. You may ask me with your mouth full of pizza pockets. Good question. Very good question. What I look for in a good sequel to anything is adding more to the media without changing the core principles of its predecessor. This could be things like new and interesting characters, intriguing plot twists, new mechanics, etc., etc., etc. And this game actually has a multitude of things that it's added without losing the addictive playstyle of the previous edition. One of the new additions I actually really enjoy is not only choosing cards that fuck you over, but now there are a multitude of things that are going to screw you, including a moving pendulum that you need to hit dead on to succeed, and dice that you roll to get to a certain number to win the actual prize. Then subsequently get pissed off when you decide to re-roll a 3 to get a higher number but get a fucking 1! The basic concept is some cards make you roll dice, the other makes you choose a card, and a few other of them do that whole metronome method, making it fresh and entirely new every single time. And coming from a man who plays some mean Yahtzee, you know, I'm a baller at that game. I do appreciate some dice play in my video games. But one of the more interesting things about this game is a companionship system that they just instituted into this new one. I say interesting instead of good because most of the time you'll utilize their special ability once and then you'll go down like a punk bitch every single time. I know, some of you will say, well, you're supposed to protect them. Why aren't you protecting them? Some companion you are. But when I'm staring down a wall of angry, muscular barbarians, I'd rather use my companion as fodder than actually try to help him with anything. You see, this is why you don't go hunting with me, okay? I'll be your best fucking friend until the first bear shows up, and then I'm kneecapping you for 15 extra seconds of sweet, sweet life. And with the companion system comes specific cards to learn more about their past, which honestly I thought was really interesting and very entertaining. Like, you want to know more about one of your shady companion's past, you'll have to equip not only the companion, but add certain cards pertaining to uncovering their past to your deck. And I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but when you only have 8 cards you can put in your deck and 1 or 2 or 3 of them have to do with that one person, you kind of think, do I really want to know more about their past? Or do I want to equip the dildo of Odyssey? I don't really know. Or you could just say, to hell with it, I don't need to know about them, and just be estranged with them for their entire adventure. Not getting to know their past, their future, their fetishes, or hell, even their name. It really doesn't matter. It's up to you. And while the previous Hand of Fate was more about beating this weathered old bitch and all of his minions, and yes, this is the same guy from the last one if anyone here has played that first one, in this game, it's more about you as a person and more of a human aspect to it. What I mean by that is you fight less dragons, you fight less rat humanoids, which now makes me think that there were a group of people fucking dragons and rats for reasons I honestly don't know. And more time fighting barbarians, guards, thieves, and knights, and working on more your personal life than the previous game where you were just fighting to kill this old man. Not to say that you won't see some skeletons or goblins or minotaurs, but you just won't see as much mythical beasts as you did in the last one. And although the fighting style seems kind of slow, kind of sluggish, or more sluggish I should say, from the last game, it is still the same method of attack, 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 counter, block, super move, then right back to attacking. So it's essentially fun and breaks away from the constant reading and the old man's ramblings that you will have to deal with 80% of this game. Another new system that they added to this game is a fame system. Every adventure that you go on collects fame. What do you do with said fame, you may ask? Do you use it to get free mutton and ale from the local shops? Maybe you flex your ego a little bit and get some strange in the brothel. How about killing another person with your horse and carriage, then changing genders and getting away with it scot-free? Those are all really good, but mainly it's used to equip weapons and defensive items to help you out with combat. As soon as you do enough good in the entire map, you'll be able to equip the shiny, expensive item that you can live up to your persona as Superhero Supreme of all time! Instead of the homicidal tranny with a get-out-of-jail-free card that you currently are. Now overall, is this game good? Yes, I have played only through half of it, so I can't tell you how it ends, but is it worth the $30 price is what you may be asking. Well, I would suggest buying the first one before this one. You know, since the first one is only $20, it's usually $10 if you get it on one of those Steam sales. But if you enjoyed that one as much as I did, and it's immensely, you can either get it directly afterwards or maybe wait until Christmas next year, where it'll be a little bit cheaper, who knows. It is a great game that makes playing with cards cool again. I mean, cards was never played with cool. You never, even with the people who did like football and baseball cards, they were never really cool people. They were just people who tried to get into cards, but they couldn't keep up with Pokemon or didn't want to be caught with a Yu-Gi-Oh set. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, cards have never been cool. You know, you think of anybody with a card, and it's just this guy with acne and glasses, and you can guarantee that he's going to kill his family at some point. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is, kids, if you want to not kill your family, don't get into Magic the Gathering, or Yu-Gi-Oh, or Pokemon, or any other card game. Put it in the spokes of your wheel, and that's that. Okay? Okay, can you promise me that? Cheers.